So yesterday, I decided to build an application with the help of ChatGPT 4 that manages a Kubernetes cluster. And for those of you who don't know what Kubernetes is, it is nothing but an infrastructure orchestrator. And so with few hours, I decided to convert an idea into reality with the help of ChatGPT. Let me show you how did it look like.
So the first thing that I did is I used ChatGPT 4, that's the model. And if you are on a paid version, it's gonna allow you to select between 3 and 4. And so here, notice how I asked ChatGPT to create or to start off with writing a program to connect to a Kubernetes cluster. And so notice how did it give me a detailed step-by-step instruction to follow to create that app. So the first thing it said that you need to use deploy, and you need to develop a script, and then you need to integrate the script with the OpenAI API. And then finally, you need to use that information provided as a decision to your script or the program. And so it then gave me the step-by-step instruction on how to get started. So the first thing that I said is like, how would it be possible for me to integrate ChatGPT? And so the first thing that it did is it told me that I need to install the OpenAI and Kubernetes packages, and then this is the script, and the script is nothing but a basic script that connects to the OpenAI API, and that's the query that I send to OpenAI. And then these are the number of nodes that you get once you're connected to the cluster. And so then I asked ChatGPT if it's possible to get the utilization of the cluster. And so it said, yes, it is possible. And so it created me a function that reads the metrics, CPU and memory, and then it returned the utilization. And then I asked it to be like, could you decide the scaling instead of me deciding the scaling? Could you decide the scaling? And so it said yes, it is possible. And it's written the code, the logic behind deciding the scaling, and then it's written the logic to say that if there is a need to add some nodes, I'm going to prompt the user to ask him that if you'd like to add some nodes. And all of this logic is me asking ChatGPT to refine it and to make it better as I move forward. And I asked ChatGPT, like, how can I deploy this to an existing cluster? Like, say for example, you've built that application and you want it to be deployed for everyone that has a Kubernetes cluster. I mean, it doesn't necessarily that they need to build it and put a pipeline for it and deploy it. Could be, but I mean, in my case, I want to put it on a marketplace or something. So it said yes, it is possible, and so there's a marketplace for it, and these are the marketplaces like that the cloud providers have. So one of them is the GCP, the Google Cloud, and the other one is AWS, and the third one is Azure Marketplace. And since I'm working on Azure, it used the it showed me like I followed the steps of how to deploy it on the Azure Marketplace. And these are step-by-step situations where you need to follow to show you how to get it on a marketplace. And then I kept on asking ChatGPT to refine it, make it better, rewrite it in Node.js instead of pure Python. First was pure JavaScript, so I said like, hey, could you use React? And then it written all plain React. So then I said like, could you, and you notice like whenever I get an error, I simply did paste that here, and then it gave me the recommendations or the instructions that I need to do in order to fix that situation. And on one occasion, the backend wasn't connected to the front end, so it was telling me exactly what I needed to do and replace in order to get that going. Some of the things that I faced is, for example, it at the beginning, it really looked ugly. So I wanted to I wanted the UI to become a little bit better, And that is one of the downsides of ChatGPT. It doesn't, like, you cannot start with an existing template. I wish you could do that in the future. Probably they would allow you to do that, but as of now, it's not possible. But look, I have a solution for that. In the future, I'm gonna show you how to read external content and let ChatGPT do that. But as of now, it's not like possible to upload the template directly to the chat over here. So it's just a matter of copy pasting. But then again, I asked it to, I mean, could you use material instead of bootstrap? And then it did, and it replaced the entire thing with material. And I kept on refining it and refining it and refining it and refining it until I reached a situation where my chatbot is working as I needed and as I was expecting it to work. I mean, I only needed to prove that if it is possible to build a working application in one day rather than spending a huge amount of time to build that. I mean, just imagine Kubernetes, a React application, a backend, a Python backend application, in few hours, in just 1 or 2 hours, I asked ChatGPT and it did that. I mean, the idea here is to build an actual product, and it did. I mean, if you look at it, it's an actual product. If you ask it a few questions related to the Kubernetes cluster, it's gonna do that. The fun part is here, this part. Every time you want to build a new feature on the application, on the chat, you simply go to ChatGPT, ask it, build me a new feature, and then integrate it to the main function, and it's gonna do that. Now, for all of you who are saying that this application is not good for production, it's only good for POC, all right, I mean, I agree with you, but here's the thing. You could do that for a production application in few hours with ChatGPT. Let me show you how. So I went to ChatGPT, right? So I'm with ChatGPT, and keep in mind that I'm using the same context that I started with. And you could go and build a new chat. It's possible, but it's better to stay within the same context because ChatGPT 4 is using the context, the same context. So let me show you how. Could you rebuild this in a design pattern and in the following design pattern: DDD, IOC. So here I'm using the domain-driven design, the inversion of control, and then I'm gonna say scale this to use a queuing system instead of a simple REST call, both for the React app and the Python backend. In fact, rewrite Python in Node as well. All right, so here's the output. And so it gave me a high-level structure of the Python backend, and the app. I've re-asked it to write this in Python instead of Node.js. And using domain-driven design. So the first thing that you need to do is install these packages, and this is the structure of the directory. See how the domains are sitting in the domains folder, and the infrastructure is sitting in the infrastructure folder, and this is following the clean architecture written by Uncle Bob. The application folder, the app.py file, the Python file, this is how it looks like. And notice how it is using now socket.io.run instead of a simple HTTP call. And this is the definition of each class. Again, you could ask it to define class by class. And so you could scale it up really quickly. So this is completely possible if you want to do that with ChatGPT. This is the current implementation of the React app. I'm showing you this because I mean, I literally haven't even written any single line of code over here. It's a simple, it's completely written by ChatGPT. Might be not the ultimate architecture, but for a POC, for a working product, for me, at least at the end of the day, with a couple of hours, that's completely perfect. I mean, you start small and then you grow it up as you go. I mean, you don't want to be a perfectionist where you completely waste your time on perfecting the code, but miss on the opportunity without even having a working product at the end of the day, right? That's the entire thing. It starts small and then grow as you go. So I've asked ChatGPT to say goodbye. So thank you for watching my video on YouTube. I appreciate your support and hope you found it informative and enjoyable. Your views, likes and comments and shares mean a lot to me and help me improve my channel. So see you soon.